In 1957, Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein created their musical version of Cinderella for actress Julie Andrews, and it was remade in 1965 starring Leslie Ann Warren. Disney princesses and live-action adaptations were all played by white women until 1997, when the fairy tale was remade with a black girl playing the titular role. But the groundbreaking version of the film faced a lot of difficulties, and in the end, a soundtrack was never released. For years, Whitney Houston had been wanting to star in a remake of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, but the idea kept getting delayed due to her successful music career. At the time, Disney had never had a black princess, and the only time they came close to showcasing black girls was in the Hercules movie, where it had the 5 black muses. And it would be another 12 years after the 1997 film before we got a black princess lead in the animated film The Princess and the Frog. In 1992, producers Craig Zadan and Neil Marin first approached the Rodgers and Hammerstein organization to develop a new Cinderella starring Whitney Houston. Whitney had her agent contact Craig and Neil about the project, and she was ready to play the role and be a producer. They were also inspired by the success of the CBS adaptation of Gypsy, starring Bette Midler. But again, production was constantly delayed because Whitney was getting more and more serious about acting and was filming the movies The Bodyguard, Waiting to Exhale, and The Preacher's Wife. By the time she was available, CBS had already lost interest in the project. She formed her production company Brown House with the goal of showcasing aspects of the lives of African Americans that had not been brought to the screen before, while improving how black folks were portrayed in film and television. Her production company went on to produce the film series The Princess Diaries and The Cheetah Girls. Whitney had also obtained the rights to a Dorothy Dandridge biopic, but Halle Berry was already getting her version off the ground before Whitney. A lot of time had passed by the time Cinderella went into production, and Whitney no longer felt suitable for the role of Cinderella. She was now a married woman in her 30s with a child, and was too mature to play the role of a young, naive princess. She compared herself to Diana Ross in The Wiz, who was a little too old to play Dorothy, even though she did an incredible job. So she suggested 17-year-old singer Brandy Norwood for the titular role. Brandy was one of the it girls in the 90s. Her self-titled debut album went multi-platinum with #1 hits on the Billboard Hot R&B Singles chart, and she was already on the 2nd season of her hit sitcom, Moesha. Brandy also maintained a positive image and was viewed as a great role model for black girls.
Until I decided that I wasn't going to be Cinderella and that I would be the fairy godmother, Brandy was definitely handpicked by me. Really? I definitely wanted her to be Cinderella, yes.
This is my dream and it's come true. I finally get to work with Whitney.
I knew there was someone who was a lot more full of energy for that kind of stuff than I was. I mean, I'm a little jaded on the energy level. Like,
you're running low. Or?
Oh yeah, I mean, you have kids and stuff, and you get kind of like, slow down a little bit.
She called me one day all hype. I was like, what's going on, Whitney? And she's like, I got this project. Deborah and I have this project, and we want you to do this movie called Cinderella, and we want you to play Cinderella. And I said, I thought you were gonna be Cinderella. She's like,
I'm 33 now. I'm not quite feeling like Cinderella.
No, honey, I'm not gonna be Cinderella. I want you to be Cinderella. And I started screaming. I ran around the house. I told my mom, I said, Mom, Whitney wants me to.
She said under one condition, that I was her fairy godmother.
Producer Craig Zadan revealed that there was a Disney executive who did not want a black Cinderella and suggested having singer Jewel play the role instead and have a black fairy godmother to meet the diversity quota. Deborah Martin Chase, who ran Whitney's production company and previously ran Denzel Washington's production company, set out to make the cast multicultural. So her approach to casting was non-traditional. And since it was a fantasy movie, race was irrelevant. The producers cast a diverse range of characters without considering their race, which is called blind casting. They had a hard time casting a white evil stepmother because no white actress wanted to be seen being mean to a black Cinderella. In addition to Brandy and Whitney, the film also starred Whoopi Goldberg, Jason Alexander, Natalie Desselle, Bernadette Peters, and Asian actor Paolo Montalban as the prince. They also had a very diverse group of backup dancers consisting of Latino, Asian, white, and black dancers. The film finally went into production in 1997, and the budget was about $12 million. The music was recorded at the Capitol Records building before filming began. And for scenes, director Robert Iscoff needed the actors to be able to sing a few lines live before they play the recorded tracks. Whitney would mentor Brandy through recording sessions.
She has often called me her mentor, which is flattering.
She's standing.
This is a very, very historical moment, though.
For me. I'm standing next to you.
I'm the fairy godmother, and that's kind of cool.
Isn't that cool?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're the perfect Cinderella, and I'm your fairy godmother.
No,
Brandy, come up. We gotta sing.
She called me the night before and said, you gotta be ready, you gotta be ready.
Okay, possibly.
I was like, oh my God, what if I crack?
She's a very sweet and innocent child
Do that note and go all the way back from the mic, and I'll come forward.
who just really needs encouragement to get to the next step.
I just wanted to do it right.
It's possible.
It's possible. It's possible. It's possible.
Filming finally began that July on the Universal European Village lot and some of the stages where The Wizard of Oz had been filmed nearly 60 years prior. Although there were a few black woman roles in the film, black hairstylists were only hired for Brandy and Whitney. Actress Natalie Desselle had an issue with this, and she cried and refused to let any non-black hairdresser on set touch her hair. Brandy also struggled on set. She was juggling filming her show Moesha, her own musical career, the filming of Cinderella, and on top of that, still trying to be a normal teenager. One day on set, Deborah Martin Chase recalled seeing Brandy curled up in a ball crying in her trailer because the filming for her morning scene was running over time into the afternoon, and she had already made plans to go to the mall with her friends in the afternoon. And Brandy said to her, "I just for once want to have a normal afternoon and do what other teenagers get to do." But Brandy kept it professional and finished filming the scene.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come hang out with us.
Oh, my
I
pleasure.
know you sing, dance, rap. What's going on in your busy schedule right now?
Well, I just finished Cinderella with Whitney and Whoopi, and I just got off the set from Moesha. Now I'm working on my new album.
Congratulations.
On the last day of filming, the same nameless Disney executive who opposed a black Cinderella refused to give producers more money to hire extras for the wedding scene, which made Whoopi upset. Whoopi even gave him an envelope full of money to pay the extras. And in the end, he still refused, and producers paid the extras themselves out of their own pockets. They also couldn't afford to shoot Whitney at the wedding scene, so they had to put her in front of a green screen. Cinderella was finally broadcast on ABC on the night of November 2nd, 1997 in the United States, pulling in 60 million viewers in just one night in about 23 million households. It became the most watched television musical debut in decades and earned ABC its highest Sunday night ratings in 10 years.
It's been years since Cinderella was filmed for television, and we thought it was about time. Time. That reminds me, I have to return the coach to Cinderella before it gets too late.
It also earned more viewership than 1993's Gypsy. Not only was the 1997 Cinderella critically acclaimed, it also broke cultural barriers. The film specifically attracted young black girls, who for the first time saw a Disney princess who looked like them. Brandy wore her signature braids in the film and has a brown complexion, which we all know is very rare in Hollywood. They usually slap bad wigs on black women and cast mixed-race women to represent black women on screen, even still to this day. We saw Whoopi Goldberg as a black queen, Whitney Houston as a black fairy godmother wearing a natural hairstyle, and a Filipino man as a prince. The 1997 Cinderella also paved the way for black girls in future Disney princess movies. The film was nominated for 7 Primetime Emmy Awards and 3 NAACP Image Awards. Despite the critical success, there was little support for a VHS release from big companies. In an interview with Shondaland, film producer Craig Zadan said, "People just weren't getting behind the VHS release the way they needed to. There was also an unspoken racial issue about it being a black show. Disney was counting on sales to make their money back, and it didn't look like it was gonna happen. They needed chains like Walmart and Blockbuster to put up giant cardboard cutout displays of Brandy and Whitney, and the chains were reluctant. The Disney marketing people basically said to them, if you want to continue getting an early look at our Disney animated movies, you have to promote Cinderella. And if you don't promote it, we're gonna make sure other chains get our products before you." It became like a threat, and finally, they had to almost force them to put them up. But they did. End quote. And when it finally came out on VHS, the film sold over 1 million copies in its first week of release. Unfortunately though, the soundtrack never got to see the light of day. They had already finished the soundtrack, but there was a war between Brandy's label, Atlantic, and Whitney's label, Arista. Arista Records president Clive Davis thought the soundtrack was amazing and was really pushing for a release. But Atlantic Records wanted Brandy to appease to an urban audience and thought releasing the soundtrack would hurt her music career. A year before her death, Whitney told Craig that the Cinderella soundtrack never being released was the biggest heartbreak of her career. Since then, the film hasn't been available to stream online. On November 12, 2019, Disney launched their streaming service that primarily distributes film and television series produced by them. But Brandy's version of Cinderella had been noticeably absent from the app. But the film would finally get the justice it deserves because in early February 2021, it was announced that the 1997 adaptation of Cinderella will finally be available to stream on Disney+.
Now, it's pretty remarkable that people have been begging for Cinderella to be re-released from almost 24 years. I mean, what do you think? Is it possible?
It's definitely possible. And I just appreciate the fans. It's definitely possible. I appreciate the fans because Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, I can say now.
Yes.
Okay, good. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella is premiering on Disney Plus on Friday, February the 12th in the U.S. And I'm so excited.
Hopefully the long overdue soundtrack album will follow. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and like this video and subscribe to Black Femininity TV for more content.